The September 11 attacks, commonly known as 9/11, were a series of suicide terrorist attacks carried out by the militant Islamic extremist network Al-Qaeda against the United States. The four flights were American Airlines Flight 11, a Boeing 767 aircraft that departed Logan Airport at 7:59 a.m. en route to Los Angeles with a crew of 11 and 76 passengers, not including the 5 hijackers. The hijackers flew the plane into the northern facade of the North Tower of the World Trade Center in New York at 8:46 a.m. United Airlines Flight 175, a Boeing 767 aircraft that departed Logan Airport at 8:14 a.m. en route to Los Angeles with a crew of 9 and 51 passengers, not including the 5 hijackers. The hijackers flew the plane into the southern facade of the South Tower of the World Trade Center in New York at 9:03 a.m. American Airlines Flight 77, a Boeing 757 aircraft that departed Washington Dulles International Airport at 8:20 a.m. en route to Los Angeles with a crew of 6 and 53 passengers, not including 5 hijackers. The hijackers flew the plane into the western facade of the Pentagon in Arlington County, Virginia at 9:37 a.m. United Airlines Flight 93, a Boeing 757 aircraft that departed Newark International Airport at 8:42 a.m. en route to San Francisco with a crew of 7 and 33 passengers, not including 4 hijackers. As passengers attempted to subdue the hijackers, the aircraft crashed into a field in Stony Creek Township, Pennsylvania near Shanksville at 10:03 a.m. American Airlines Flight 11, by 7:40, all 5 hijackers were aboard the flight scheduled to depart at 7:45. The aircraft received clearance to push back from Gate B-32 at 7:46 and was cleared to taxi to the runway at 7:50. The aircraft began its takeoff run from Logan International Airport at 7:59 from runway 4 right. United Airlines Flight 175 was scheduled to depart at 8 a.m. for Los Angeles. 51 passengers and the 5 hijackers boarded the 767 through Terminal C's Gate 19. The plane pushed back at 7:58 and took off at 8:14 from runway 9. Flight 77 was scheduled to depart for Los Angeles at 8:10. 58 passengers boarded through Gate D26, including the 5 hijackers. Flight 77 left the gate on time and took off from Dulles using runway 30 at 8:20. "15 minutes into American Airlines Flight 11, the hijackers injured at least 3 people, possibly killing 1. They forcibly breached the cockpit and overpowered the captain and first officer. Mohammed Atta, an Al-Qaeda member and licensed commercial pilot, took over the controls. Air traffic controllers suspected that the flight was in distress because the crew was no longer responding. They realized the flight had been hijacked when Mohammed Atta's announcements for passengers were unintentionally transmitted to air traffic control. United Airlines Flight 93 was scheduled to depart at 8 a.m. and pushed back from Gate A17 at 8:01. It remained delayed on the ground until 8:42 because of heavy airport congestion. At this point, all aircraft were airborne. Approximately 30 minutes into United Airlines Flight 175, the hijackers forcibly breached the cockpit and overpowered the captain and first officer. Lead hijacker and trained pilot Marwan al-Sheikhi took over the controls. After murdering the captain and first officer, the hijackers deviated the aircraft from its assigned flight path for 4 minutes before air traffic controllers took notice. Thereafter, they made several unsuccessful attempts to contact the cockpit. Several passengers and crew members aboard made phone calls to family members and relayed information regarding the hijackers and casualties suffered by passengers and crew. The first plane to hit its target was American Airlines Flight 11. It was crashed into the North Tower of the World Trade Center at 8:46. "17 minutes later, at 9:03 a.m., the World Trade Center's South Tower was hit by United Airlines Flight 175. Both 110-story towers collapsed within an hour and 42 minutes, leading to the collapse of the other World Trade Center structures, including 7 World Trade Center, and significantly damaging surrounding buildings. At 8:32 a.m., FAA officials were notified Flight 11 had been hijacked, and they in turn notified the North American Aerospace Defense Command, NORAD. NORAD scrambled to F-15s from Otis Air National Guard Base in Massachusetts, and they were airborne by 8:53 a.m. Because of slow and confused communication from FAA officials, NORAD had 9 minutes notice and no notice about any of the other flights before they crashed. Less than 35 minutes into the flight, the hijackers stormed the cockpit and forced the passengers, crew, and pilots to the rear of the aircraft. Hanihanjo, one of the hijackers who was trained as a pilot, assumed control of the flight. Passengers made telephone calls to friends and family and relayed information about the hijacking. After both of the twin towers had already been hit, more fighters were scrambled from Langley Air Force Base in Virginia at 9:30 a.m. At 10:20 a.m., then Vice President Dick Cheney issued orders to shoot down any commercial aircraft that could be positively identified as being hijacked. These instructions were not relayed in time for the fighters to take action. Some fighters took to the air without live ammunition, knowing that to prevent the hijackers from striking their intended targets, the pilots might have to intercept and crash their fighters into the hijacked planes, possibly ejecting at the last moment. American Airlines Flight 77 crashed into the west side of the Pentagon, the headquarters of the American military in Arlington County, Virginia at 9:37 a.m., causing a partial collapse of the building's side. The fourth and final flight, United Airlines Flight 93, was flown in the direction of Washington, D.C. The plane's passengers, now alerted about the previous attacks, attempted to regain control of the aircraft. A struggle broke out in the aircraft and the hijackers crashed the plane in a field in Stony Creek Township, Pennsylvania, near Shanksville at 10:03 a.m. Investigators determined that Flight 93's target was either the United States Capitol or the White House.
Yeah, we do have a smoke puff now at about, probably 2 o'clock. It appears to be just a dark cloud, like a puff of black smoke.